Good night, Irene. Holy cow. Heavens to Betsy, baby, look at you now. Got stars shining in your eyes, yeah. Make every night feel like Saturday night. Make every night feel like Saturday night. Like Saturday night. Like Saturday night.
Okay, so I'm Dan from Canada. So I'll play a couple of mine as well. So this one is actually about relationships as well, and but not the way you think. So we're trying to change a major organization, and sitting around the table, things aren't really going on that well, and someone said, "Well, here we are back in the starting line." And so I thought, well, that's kind of a nice thought for a song. So here we go. And it's kind of a down song, but that's okay. I'll really sum it up one later.
Look at all the years gone by. Days we laughed and nights we cried. Look at all the toil and pain just to find ourselves again back on the starting line. Can we try and start again? Thought we found the rainbow's end. We've been standing all this time back on the starting line. Back on the starting line. So this is how it's meant to be. Another Pyrrhic victory. Promises we cannot keep. Wasted nights of restless sleep. Didn't learn from history. Can we try and start again? Thought we found the rainbow's end. We've been standing all this time back on the starting line. Back on the starting line. Tantalized by the finish line. Where do we go from here? Can we try and start again? Thought we found the rainbow's end. Now Have we been standing all this time? Back on the starting line. Back on the starting line. Look at all the things we planned. It's not hard to understand. Now it's finally up to you, and our dreams can all come true. The future's in your hands. Can we try and start again? Thought we found the rainbow's end. Have we been standing all this time? Back on the starting line. Back on the starting line.
There's always one or two people who just seem to think that it's okay to do whatever it takes, throw anyone under the bus in order to get ahead. And I work in the Canadian government, and there's certainly no shortage of people like that. And so, I think pretty much everyone knows people like that. And if you actually don't know someone like that, it's probably you. And this really came about because I was just playing around with some major sevenths and minor sevenths and some jazz chords. And we recorded this recently, and so the intro and bridge that I had is somewhere on the cutting room floor right now. So I'm going to play it now anyway.
Dreaming of castles in the sky, gazing at stars as they go by, desperately running through a maze. 'Tis pure regret in case at times you wonder why, hanging on every single word, whispering secrets that you heard. Hidden agenda, 5-year plan. You find out what you can. Don't leave a part unstirred. Did you finally find what you've been looking for? Are you happy now? And did you hope for more? This game will take you down someday, and soon you'll hear the knocking at your door. You can't play anymore. trying to read between the lines, quietly watching for the signs. It's hard to keep track of friends and foes, the apprehension grows, self-confidence declines. You finally find what you've been looking for. Are you happy now, or did you hope for more? This game you play will take you down someday. And when you hear the knocking at your door, did you finally find what you've been looking for? Are you happy now, or did you hope for more? This game you play will take you down someday, and soon you'll hear the knocking at your door.
You need a mic?
Actually, I don't need that.
Oh.
'Cause I'm plugged in.
Oh, you plugged in. Nice.
All right. Well, as you know, I'm Jeff, and I'm the one who gets to noodle along with these guys. I mean, it's,
What a tough.
Yeah.
You make it look so easy too.
well, you guys make it easy, you know. But that last one, I was no way I was going to try that one. So, you know, 40%, hitting on 40% is going to get you in the Hall of Fame in baseball, but not in music. So, well, I don't have any original songs, so I'm going to do other people's songs. Okay, yet. This is it's not an autobiographical song by any means, but I just think it's a cool song. It's by a band called Sunvolt. Took the night shift, another nickel on the dime. Try to play it straight and make it different this time. Still waiting to meet the next ex-wife. It's either watching these gauges for Monsanto or a bar back job for the casino. The army won't want me after what this body's been through. Won't you take me back, North Carolina? Won't you take me back, Arkansas? Blissful days still there to remember. Methamphetamine was the final straw. Had a killer job in a backup band, playing guitar in Branson. 2 shows a night brought the money to chase down sin. Now it's another weekend, I'm lonely at home. Late night TV, evangelist drone. I'm healthy now, but I really don't know if I'll ever be. Won't you take me back, North Carolina? Won't you take me back, Arkansas? Blissful days still there to remember. Methamphetamine was the final straw. Won't you take me back, North Carolina? Won't you take me back, Arkansas. Blissful days still there to remember. Methamphetamine was the final straw.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's see. All right, I'll try something else. This one's a little more recent. This is from a band, well, the Avett Brothers. I'm sure most of you have heard of them. This is from their most recent album. It's about a year old. I really like the lyrics. Nice message here. When my body won't hold me anymore and it finally sets me free, will I be ready? When my feet won't walk another mile and my lips give their last kiss goodbye, will my hands be steady when I lay down my fears, my hopes and my doubts, the rings on my fingers and the keys to my house, with no hard feelings? When the sun sinks low in the west and the light in my chest won't be kept, held at bay any longer, when the jealousy fades away and it's ash and dust for cash and lust, and it's just hallelujah and love and thought, love in the words, love in the songs they sing in the church, and no hard feelings. Lord knows they haven't done much good for anyone, kept me afraid and cold, with so much to have and hold. When my body won't hold me anymore and it finally sets me free, where will I go? Will the trade winds take me south through George grain, or tropical rain, or snow from the heavens? Will I join with the ocean blue, or run into a Savior true and shake hands laughing and walk through the night straight to the light, holding the love I've known in my life and no hard feelings? Lord knows they haven't done much good for anyone, kept me afraid and cold, with so much to have and hold. Under the curving sky, I'm finally learning why it matters for me and you to say it and mean it too. For life and its loveliness and all of its ugliness, good as it's been to me. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. Thank you.
So am I playing or talking now? Am I talking or playing or what? You know,
I think you're rightly talking right now, but,
okay, well. I write a lot of things, I journal a lot of stuff, and I always have melodies running through my head. Melodies, songs, I always have melodies running through my head, and I write stuff, and the way that I do it the most is with my iPhone. My iPhone has notes and it has voice memos. So when I'm sitting around and I have a thought, I quickly or I hear I need to start with something, a concept, a phrase, an idea, a title, a chorus. So when I get a thought, I open up my iPhone and I quickly write down as many things as I possibly can about that without editing as I go. I just put a whole bunch of stuff down, and then I say done and I leave it. So I have maybe 60, 70 different things in my notes. And then periodically I go through there and look at them, and then maybe if something strikes me about that, then I will add it in. And then on the other half of the phone, on the voice memos, because I don't want to forget a melody that comes into my head, I open up my iPhone quickly and I sing into it if I have some words. Now I have a melody to go with the words that I wrote in my notes. I sing that in there, and there might be 5 or 6 different versions of that. Or I whistle, because I can always figure it out later on the guitar, and then I can always put it in the key that I want to have it in. But if I don't have it, I remember long ago driving around with a black composition book in my construction truck and thinking, oh, that's really a cool song, and writing the words down, and then by the time the end of the day came, I had no idea what the melody was anymore. So it was very frustrating. So that's kind of what I do. And then if you plug your iPhone into your computer and you have iTunes open, all your memos will load up if you set it that way. And then you can print them all out. And you can go through with a pair of scissors, and you can cut things and say, I think this goes with this, and this might go with this, and this could be a good chorus for this, even though I didn't think about that. And you can kind of rearrange things around so that you come up with something that's cohesive. And then sometimes, by doing that, playing that little game, you can start to build. So now you have a chorus, now you have a couple verses. Then once you have that, I'm always looking for a bridge, and I'm a relative minor kind of a guy, so I always try to do the bridge in a relative minor, and I try to make it interesting, and I'm not really locked into keeping chords that might necessarily be in that key in the song. If I find something that sounds good to me, I'll stick it in there, and if it sounds like it works to me, I'm ashamed to admit I don't really need to know why it works. There's probably a relationship that makes it work, but I'm not smart enough yet in my musical journey to be able to say, oh yes, that's this or that or the other thing. That's kind of how I work. Sometimes things come to me really fast. I wrote a song called Antiphona, which is basically, Antiphona, the most common one is I came, I saw, I conquered. So my starts, I came, I saw, I wanted you. And then I go on from there. And that song came together really quickly. Sometimes they do, and sometimes I go back in my green book and I say, and I was sharing earlier, I felt at one point like I had a bunch of children that I'd started with my seed in my green composition book. And I started to feel guilty. Well, I can't just leave them in there, can I? I mean, I have to get them out and do something with them. So I started to pull them out. And a lot of that happened as a result of camp. I brought a couple songs that I'm always have something I'm writing. It used to be I'd just write it and it would languish in my green composition book. But coming to camp and singing it and getting some positive feedback from people really helped me to say, okay, I've got to go back and take some of this a little bit more seriously and start cranking out some of these things. And that's what it worked. And it was really great to meet with Dave and have him, gently guide me or not so gently guide me through the process. So I would like to say, any of you guys, if you want, first thing you need to do if you want to write a song is start writing something. So get a composition book and start journaling your day. We all have feelings. We all have relationships. We all have things that we care deeply about. Start writing some of that stuff down. That's a good start. And then pick your guitar up, or it's better really to have to go around and say, I got this line, now how would I do that? And keep singing it over and over in your head until you find something you really like, and then sing it in your phone. And not get bogged down by picking up your guitar. Because I find that limiting sometimes, because now all of a sudden I'm like, I have a G chord, what am I going to do now? So it's better to have a melody in my head. You know, this melody from Cars on Cars. I just played that over and over again. And one day I said, oh yeah. Said, King Annie's in and makes a bet, draws an ace and raises it 10. Queen draws to a royal flush, raises 50. The jack call, the best card win. But then I had that. I still needed a bridge, so that took me another year or so to come up with a bridge that I liked. But I had something, and so then you kind of have to go around and sort of give this a shove, and give this a shove, and give this a shove. So you don't want to push it to the point where you hate it, or that you feel like you're going to do it some damage. Like when you paint something, they always say the hardest thing a painter has to do is know when to stop. So at some point you say, yes, that's done, or no, it's not done. And that's probably not helping at all, but that's kind of how I do it. Any questions about that? And I'd be happy, anybody wants to come and talk to me, I'm very passionate about writing songs. And I'd love to help you if you have something that you write down, or I'm sure Dave would too. It's really cool to see something come to life, a song. Bringing a song to life is a wonderful thing. So.
I have a slightly different process. Because I also have a lot of music running around in my head all the time, but I have a tendency to think about melodies more than I do about lyrics to start with. And lyrics for me come from things that are really getting on my nerves at any point in time, and it's just like an outlet. It's like a pressure valve that releases. Last year, some of you might remember I did that song "Dark Lady," which was about a scientist, and I read a biography about this person, and there's just something inspiring about the book, and also something that really angered me about the story that became the song. So I really sweat over all of these songs, and I'm a scientist, and so I can't help being analytical, and sometimes you can get over analytical about things. And John was kind of referring to, when is it good enough? And I don't know that it's ever good enough, and I think that's a real challenge for me to analyze every word, every nuance. Sometimes I approach the music with more purpose. In the second song that I played, I actually set out to write a chord progression that used chords from two different scales in the verse and the chorus. And I don't know if you picked up on that. But the verse was basically A major 7th, D minor, G, C, C major 7th. There's an F, B flat. Everyone know where that B flat comes from in this whole progression? Okay, and so this is the thing. So I kind of like talking about the theory, and I like to know where it comes and why does that sound right? Because then it goes to B minor 7th, from B flat to B minor 7th, and it still sounds okay to me. And so I like to do things that kind of surprise the listener. They sometimes surprise me first, and if they don't surprise me the second time, it's probably okay. But then in the chorus, it's instead of going from A major 7th to D minor 7th, actually now I'm going to D major 7th. And now the progression, instead of to G, is down from F sharp minor to. So I deliberately set out in this particular case to write a chord progression, and during all of this, I was just getting ready to retire, And so I started thinking about some of the people I really wasn't going to miss. And that's kind of where the idea is. So that particular song, have you really found what you've been looking for? When is enough for some of these people who want nothing but to get more power and privilege? So you can see I've got a little bit of a social conscience going here too. And the song is structured, so very analytical now. So I try to structure my songs. I try to structure them according to a meter and a rhyming pattern. And the first verse is somebody starting their career, just wide-eyed and wondering what's going on and caught up in all of the mess. The second verse is when they finally figure out that they can really be conniving in order to get ahead, and that seems to work. But then in the end, the hunter becomes the hunted, and so now, and I've seen this happen, where you suddenly are looking behind you because you've left so many dead bodies behind you that now you're worried about who's back there, and there isn't that much more in front. And that's how the song's structured, and that's what it's about. So, and trying to find the rhymes, settling on near rhymes kills me sometimes. I have to do that, but that's kind of how I approach it. And it takes me a long time because I will work on it, and then I'll set it aside sometimes for weeks, and I'll just let it process, and I'll go back at it. And Dark Lady took over a year. To kind of get it to where I could actually show it to Dave. So I want to put another plug in for Dave, because anyone who is thinking about writing songs, it's just an art form, whether you're painting or doing something else, writing poetry, writing prose. It's really helpful to have somebody who can give you honest but helpful but very courteous feedback. And to point you in the right direction. And the other thing that's really helpful is to actually record them, because I tell you, you play a song in an acoustic version, and then you sit down and you record it. Two things happen. One is you realize, this is now personal experience, I realize how bad my timing is. I realize how pitchy my voice is. Because it doesn't sound that bad when I'm hearing it to myself. And I realize how much better it sounds when it's actually properly produced and orchestrated. And that's what Dave does really well. I think he's a fantastic producer, and I just want to encourage anyone who just has a song to go through that process. If you're coming out here anyway, the week before or the week after, Dave's usually around at Knackville, we like to call it, and so that's what I'd really recommend. But and I'll just finish by saying this, that I really like John's approach. We've talked a little bit about how he does stuff, and I'm going to probably start trying to do that, to kind of shake things up for me. I'd like to write some songs that aren't forcing people to jump off buildings. And in fact, the one that I'll do tomorrow, I think, I'm going to say is my record. Conceived, written, and demoed in my own home studio in about 10 or 11 days. So that was the fastest I've ever gone through something. And it was a really interesting experience, because I didn't actually write about something I had to research being a scientist. I actually wrote about something I'd personally experienced. And so it was a lot easier and also a lot harder. Okay, that's it.
All right, now Jeff, tell us about what you do. How do you do this? Because we always think of you as the Energizer Bunny. There's Dave, and then he's Energizer Bunny, and then there's you. And
I go home from camp and then I sleep for 3 weeks.
Okay, and that recharges the batteries. But
Yeah.
you can play anytime, and you can play tons of songs. How did you manage that? How did you learn all those songs? And
Well, I don't know. I started to get serious about. I've been playing since I was a teenager, even before that, but got serious about it about a dozen years ago. Got my first acoustic guitar then, and decided about the same time that, before that, it was always like I could play this little snippet here and this little chord progression there, and hey, isn't that cool? Then put it back in the closet for another 3 months, And I decided, no, I'm going to learn how to play a song start to finish. I may even try singing, and which was, there's no way. But then a few years later, found Toledo guitars. I was looking. I have no idea what song I was looking for, but I was looking for something on a particular song, and found TG, and the approach just fit what I needed perfectly. And similar story to pretty much everybody in this room here. It was just the best fit for me, and haven't looked back since. As far as I play with a band, a trio that we've been together about 5 years now. It's funny, looking at my phone today, Facebook does, here's 5 years ago what you posted or whatever. It was the first open mic that I ever did. And it's hard to believe it's only been 5 years, because, I just remember being petrified then, and now it's, less petrified, maybe. People have asked me, a couple times this week already, surely you don't get nervous. I get nervous every time we have a gig. We're going on our 100th gig coming up here, and I figure if I didn't get nervous, I wouldn't care. That's just part of me. I have to get nervous, I guess. I just don't let it affect me really. And once we're really into the first song, that kind of goes away. And it's one of the good things about doing these mini sets here is you get a chance to get past that nervousness that really is more before you start playing than when you actually start playing. And then you get through a song, get to another song, and it's like, okay, well, now I'm in a groove, and you get a rhythm going there that you don't get to have if you're just playing one song at an open mic. So I really compliment doing this, having this format. And as far as playing the accompaniment and stuff, I don't know. It's just it's not. It's probably not the way Neil would prefer me to go about it, is like knowing what the chord progression is and knowing where the proper scales are. I've been doing a lot of it just by ear and by instinct, because I've been doing it a while, with the other guy in the band and stuff, and it just seems to work. But there's plenty of times I missed,
But look, for back in the starting line, you heard, basically, you played this after having heard the song only about 20 minutes earlier. We did it earlier this afternoon, but basically I played it for you twice. It's in F. It's not the key that most people like to write in, but it's that particular one I'd like to sing in. And so what Jeff is able to do, I wish I could do. But at the same time, the whole point of collaboration, and this is something I used to do as a scientist as well, and now hopefully more as a musician, the whole point of collaboration is you work with somebody who can do something that you can't do. And then that's where the synergy comes in. And so I just want to say thank you, because it was a blast. Thanks.
Now, Jeff, how do you master a song? What is the process you go through to master it so that you can then get up and be comfortable playing a song?
Most of the time, it's a song that I've been hearing for years, and so I already have it semi-burned into my brain. I may not have all the lyrics memorized or whatever, but so that if it's something like that, then I kind of have a head start on it, and then I'll listen to it over and over and over and over and over and over, and in the car, and sing it in the car, and all that stuff. And if there's a lesson on the site, if I need a little help with it, and there's a lesson on the site, I'll go to that. We do a lot of simple songs in our band. We go for the low-hanging fruit a lot. That's what people like to hear a lot of times, Brown-Eyed Girl and all that stuff, So a lot of times if you played one, you've played them all, or you played several of them already, so it's not like you're, splitting the atom here.
So the more you learn, the more general skills you
That I
have.
know.
There's commonalities between, especially in popular music, there's commonalities there that you start expecting. And that's probably what helps me out a lot with playing along with the chord progression. It's just you start expecting the next thing, but of course then you threw in a few that I missed, I think, every time. I was able to slide up and make it look like it was intentional,
Any
So-
questions for Jeff?
But there is a songwriting workshop tomorrow, is that right? So all I can say is that when Dave and who else is sharing that with you? Is it just you, or? So when he starts talking about the theory, try not to let your eyes really glaze over, because there's gold in there. If you actually understand, how to actually substitute chords from the standard chord progression of major, major, minor, major, minor, minor, major, minor, diminished. If you actually understand how you can substitute chords, that's where the really interesting sounds come from. When you hear things on the radio or wherever you're listening right now, and they sound really interesting and unusual, it's almost always because they've substituted a chord out with something else. And although we were having some fun at Neil's place, I actually do like to try to understand why that worked. Where did that come from? And because then it's there and I can use it again later, and not necessarily just in that key, but just if I know that that's a 5 of 6 or that's whatever it happens to be. It's sort of the relative minor scale. So there you go. I mean, I really think that songwriting is this mixture of, at least what we do is a mixture of poetry and music. I mean, I just write things that don't necessarily intend to have words, but they're just not as interesting as being able to tell a story. And Dave is the master storyteller.
Can I say a few quick things?
Yeah.
I love all three of these guys. But I think that one of the takeaways you can get, especially with a songwriting thing, but also having to do with what Jeff was saying, is that there's no one right way to do it. That is really the most important thing. I mean, Dan is his process, and you can hear it's quite different than John's. I love working with both of them, but it's quite different. Sometimes with Dan, it's almost like trying to get him to be a little less analytical, but not too much, because that's a great skill that he's got, that analytical thing, so we can use that.
But the problem with being analytical, it means that I'm holding on to my ideas too tightly.
Right.
And that actually impedes the whole creative process if you're just grabbing on and not wanting to let go. And that would be some of the advice I would give, is that your ideas are not you. They're just something that you created, and you need to be able to let them go. And I wish I could let them go more easily than I do right now, and I'm learning.
Yeah, totally. And again, working with John, he's less analytical, so sometimes it was frustrating, like, well, that chord doesn't really work with that other chord. Why? Well, it just doesn't. And then it starts explaining in his eyes, closes open, and he goes, I like the way it sounds. Just go with it. It's okay. It doesn't matter. That's great. And again, what Jeff was saying is about the way that he plays lead doesn't really involve a lot of theory and working everything out.
Not yet, at
thinking
least.
it all through, at least for now, and he's saying Neil wouldn't like that. So, well, ultimately, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of great musicians who never actually had a lot of theory, if any, and they were still great. They just had great ears. Doesn't mean the ones that do have theory. I tend to be a little more analytical and a little more theory-oriented. There's maybe a little less guesswork in what I do when I'm playing. But neither one is really right. You can get there either way. So, I mean, that's kind of what I think the takeaway is, that everybody has their process, and you have to find what's comfortable for you, and then make the most of it. And then maybe if you find a way that's not your way, it's not in your comfort zone, you go, okay, well, maybe I can learn from that by being a little more analytical, or by being a little less analytical, or a little more theoretical. It doesn't mean you got to change what you're doing, but just maybe if you push yourself a little bit, you might get some of the advantages that the other method gets.
Yeah, the tool.
But there's no wrong way, really. And the fantastic thing is all three of these guys are incredibly creative and have done some amazing work in the last couple of years. It's great.
Thanks, guys.
And I really appreciate you guys. Your contributions to camp have been spectacular and inspiring, I think, for a lot of people. Especially, YouTube been coming for a really long time, and we've seen a lot of changes. We've seen a lot of changes in everybody, obviously. Dan just joined us last year, and it's been a great thing too. So I really like the diversity of things that we have here, and you guys are all great examples of, I think, why a lot of people like coming here. I don't know how we're doing on time. We missed dinner or anything?
No, it's 5 after 5, so it's
5 after 5.
yeah, it's probably.
You guys want to play like one more song each or something?
Well, we could.
What do you think? Is that too much? Has everybody had?
Well, you can leave, but we'll play.
Thank you.
Yeah. this? The ritual tuning.
It's a Trader B string.
I'm just gonna slip over here so I don't have to stand on the microphone.
It's another sad love song. This is nothing, absolutely nothing to do with my wife. Somewhere in the dark of space, somewhere in our galaxy, out among the billions of stars that swirl into the Milky Way, there could be another world we could travel to, where you could love me and I could understand you. Maybe it's the kind of world and the water would taste so sweet. Maybe there's peace on that world and people get enough to eat. Maybe on such a world, honey, could it be true that you could love me? I could understand you. Well, is it science fiction or just my fantasy? One night I rescued a princess. Will she rescue me? Will she rescue me? Is it science fiction or just my fantasy? One night I rescued a princess. Will she rescue me? Will she rescue me? Darkest thoughts, out among my hopes and dreams, out among the millions of words we have said and left unsaid. Could there be another chance, place that we could travel to, where you could love me, I could understand you? Well, is it science fiction or just my fantasy? One night I rescued a princess. Will she rescue me? Will she rescue me? And is it science fiction or just my fantasy? One night I rescued a princess. Will you rescue me? Will you rescue me? Come on, babe, let's take the car, drive until the lights all fade, wait until our eyes adjust and stare up at the stars amazed. See the world as it could be, softened by that starry light. When all the clutter fades away, it's you and me again tonight. Come on, babe, let's take that car, drive until the lights all fade, wait until our eyes adjust and stare up at the stars amazed. See the world as it could be, softened by that starlight. And once the clutter fades away, it's you and me again tonight. But is it science fiction or just my
fantasy. One night I rescued a princess. Will she rescue me? Will she rescue me? And is it science fiction or just my fantasy? One night I rescued a princess. Honey, will you rescue me? Will you rescue me? Ah. Somewhere in the dark of space, somewhere in our galaxy, out among the billions of stars that swirl into the Milky Way.
I like that.
So I'm going to do a cover here, actually, of a Lenny Gallant song. So Lenny Gallant is a Canadian folk artist who doesn't get as much airplay as most folk artists should, I think. And this is called Peter's Dream.
I still get up before the day breaks. I still walk down to the shore. I watch the sunrise from the eastern ocean, but I don't sail to meet it anymore. How could they have let this happen? We saw it coming years ago. The greedy ships kept getting bigger and bigger, and the sonar told them where to go. Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the Sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the water, and Jesus pulled them in with me. Where am I gonna go now? What about this boat I own? What about this old piano? What about this boat I own? Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the Sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the water, and Jesus pulled them in with me.
Go ahead.
Someone sang an old sea shanty and nearly told a mainland joke. And Kelly cursed and swore until his voice gave out. And then he asked me for a smoke. And then he took his father's shotgun, went to the harbor through the town. He fired 14 times, woke everyone up, and we all watched that boat go down. Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the Sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the water, and Jesus pulled them in with me. Yeah, he pulled them in with me. I still get up before the day breaks. I still walk down to the shore. I watch the sunrise from the eastern ocean, but I don't sail to meet it anymore.
Oh boy. How do you follow that stuff? Those two songs, jeez. All right, well, let's end it with something a little more upbeat. Just because it's that time of day when you get a little drowsy and stuff, so. So I'm gonna do a song by Traffic. This is Rock and Roll Stew from Low Spark High Heel Boys. Sitting in a transit all night long, playing cards and rocking right on. It's been long since I've been wasting my time. Wish I was home again, sipping my wine, and I'm I don't care, 'cause I'm gone. I don't care, it's where I'm from, I'm on the road again. LA to London is a mighty long time. 8 hours of flying can bring me down. Sitting in a suit with his redneck glowing. His eyes are moving, but there's nobody showing. And I don't care, 'cause I'm gone, gone, gone. I don't care, it's where I'm from, I'm on the road again. Now that I'm home again, things seem much better. Biding my time with my little go-getter. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, gonna end up in the middle of that rock and roll stew, and I'll be gone. I don't care, 'cause I'm gone, gone, gone. I don't care, it's where I'm from, I'm on the road again. Gone, gone, gone. Gone, gone, gone. And I'm gone.